today is the funeral of Mike Brown in Ferguson. What is your take in terms of what happened over there?
Yeah. I definitely think that it's, sad in a sense of I view it differently. Like, I view it different than probably some do, just being one who lost a son. Now, granted, I know that that's a definite different circumstance than what I've experienced. But the entirety of this situation has been kind of wrapped in that type of framework for me. And so I start initially with, man, who's looked like all the, you got media and people protesting, and you got cops, and I'm going, who's caring for the mom who just lost her baby? So for me, I come from that vantage point first, and then progress to more of, the social ills that you see pop from it. And so as much as I want to sympathize with the situation as a whole, it just kind of starts there for me. Now, I definitely think that, 6 shots or more is brutality, like unnecessary in every regard. And I think dude should still be alive. I think he should be, I guess the media report said today's his funeral when it should have been his first day in college. And so I go, man, he should be in college. That's excessive force in the purest form. And I definitely think that there should be something in place to kind of corral what officers are able to do, and my uncle was a cop, and I got a lot of family in LA who are officers. And then even now, a cousin of mine who's an officer, and he's telling me, like, man, we're taught to use every opportunity afforded to us until we see there's no other option. Even the cops who are now dressed in militarized gear on the streets walk with their guns aimed up at people, and you're like, man, in military, you don't aim unless you know the trigger's about to be pulled. Like, why are you aiming at people? That kind of incites someone to want to fight back. And so, there's just a lot of things to be frustrated about and mad about, but my heart always goes back to just the parents, man. I'm like, for this moment, can a mom grieve losing her son without the politicians jockeying for views on TV, or for, somebody to have a social political stance? So,
well, I read something this morning that was interesting, and said that rioting is the language of those who don't have a voice. Mm-hmm. What's your take about people reacting to the situation with rioting, with looting, with burning of really their own cities?
Yeah. I think in one sense that statement makes sense. People riot because they feel like they're not being heard, and in the same turn, I feel like it hurts. It kind of shoots us in the foot. We shoot ourselves in the foot when it comes to progression.
Yeah, because I'm old enough to see this happen with the Rodney King riots.
Right.
Like, that was the last time I really remember something like this actually happening to this extent. Right. So I've seen this happen again, and ultimately, once the anger and everything dies down, you now have this fucked up city that, and
somebody got to rebuild.
Someone got to rebuild.
Yeah. And so that's how I feel. That's what I mean by shooting ourselves in the foot. I feel like there's something that pops off in the moment, fueled by the moment, that when it's said and done, and you can come back and look at it from a sober point of view, you go, man, maybe we shouldn't have burned that. Maybe we shouldn't have knocked this down. Maybe we shouldn't have stole this. Maybe we shouldn't have robbed that. Because the same guy who's now outside his business with a gun ready to defend it is the same guy who was lovingly providing a service to your community before that. Now, after this, he's leaving. He's like, I'm gone. Like, if this is what can happen to me after years of service in this community, I'd rather find a new community, And so I feel like there's got to be a way that we not shoot ourselves in the foot in that sense. But you do want to be heard. And so even though I can comprehend why someone would do something like that, I think at the end of the day, it harms us.